a second-hand coat. I want a yacht, not a cheap little boat. I tell my daddy not to be depressed. All I need for happiness is the best. I want a diamond, nothing else has appeal. And when it comes to men, you know how I feel. I want a real man. Give me a real man, you know what I mean. I want a real man. Oh, real man, you're what I need.
Hey guys. Hey, what's up? Hey, chef. What's going on? The chef is here. Hey, welcome to Real Men. I'm your host, Tim Steeves. This is the show where men get real. We're going to break it down with our all-star panel of talkers. Let's introduce them right now. Tim Reichert dropped in. How you doing, Timmy?
Good morning. Good morning.
Nice, Timmy, coming in with
Energy today.
Big energy from Timmy Reichert. He's had his caffeine. Chuck Byrn's here with us as well. Chucky, what's up?
I've been told I'm not allowed to sing.
Okay, yeah, no singing from Chucky. And Anne-Marie Scheffler, the chef, is in the house.
Hi there. I'm not going to sing
And the
either.
dish is sexy. Also, Ryan Belville's here with us. How you doing, Ryan?
Very good, Tim.
Good to see you, dude. And that's actually how we're going to get this show started. We're going to throw it over to that same Ryan Belville for a commentary. Go ahead, man.
Well, okay. Statistically, the fact is men commit suicide more than women. How much? Well, you're 4 times more likely to commit suicide if you're a man, and if you're a man between the ages of 20 and 24, you're 6 times more likely to commit suicide. Why is that? Why is it that men are committing suicide so much more than women? Well, there's a lot of theories behind it. For instance, some people think that men take failure a lot worse, that they carry a lot of things on their shoulder. You want to be the breadwinner, the perfect father, the perfect husband, everything. And if that doesn't work out, then you might as well call it quits. That's an attitude a lot of men have. Some people think it's just chemical. Maybe chemically men are more likely to go crazy and just end it all. A lot of people believe in legacy. For instance, you know, if you're an architect and you're a woman, you're going to build a building. Sure, that's going to be good. But if you're a man and you're an architect, you're going to build the biggest building you can because you want a legacy. Who knows why? We're going to discuss some of those things today on Real Men. What do you think about that, Tim?
I think you're pretty hot over there, man, with your little commentary.
Hey, thanks, dude.
Yeah, Ryan Belville coming in here and just, you know, getting it kicked off. What do you think, Chuck? Comments? Get started?
I think it all comes down to the basic phrase of take it like a man, which essentially means cram it all down and don't deal with it at all. You know, rub some dirt on it and get back in the game, which just...
We're not known for talking things out, are we, Chuck? Generally speaking.
Take that bullet in the head to the like a man.
Well, yeah. I mean, but guys are killing themselves.
It's, yeah, I don't know. You posed a lot of great questions, and I don't know the answer, quite frankly. I think there's a lot.
That's it for this segment. No, go ahead, David.
Frankly, I don't know. So out. Yeah, I think there's a lot to the. There's a lot of responsibility on a man's shoulder, self-imposed.
Yeah.
But they put the weight of the world on their shoulders and they think of themselves.
Well, men also do commit suicide more violently than women, too. Like, men will shoot themselves, men will jump off bridges, and men will hang themselves.
And women will take pills.
Women will take
and
pills.
not be successful at it and then get a second chance. And they also have, like we've said before, better support groups.
The cry for help thing.
The cry for help thing is, yeah, it is more often happens with women, and that, I think, is because of the whole pills versus... It's not much of a cry for help if you shoot yourself in the head, because it's a one-time deal.
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing is, you know, men killing themselves because of depression, because we've said before they haven't got a place to go. It's not like really manly to be suffering from depression, and so.
Well, you see, I find myself when I have something I do want to talk about, like an interpersonal issue, if I go up to a guy friend to talk about it, I usually preface whatever I say with, you know, I don't really want to talk about this, but I got to say it to somebody. You know what I mean? I have to unload it to somebody. Sorry to do this to you, but women just, you know, just.
Everybody.
Go.
Way less men
download
go to
on people.
Way less men go to therapy because it's not considered the right thing to do. Because if you go to therapy, you're crazy, whereas a lot more women accept the fact that you're not crazy if you go to therapy.
Well,
You're
not
healthy.
just that you're crazy, but that on some level you're unable to deal with your problems yourself.
Yeah, you can't fix it yourself, like the car, like the, you know.
Like
I can fix my own car, I can fix my own head, damn it. You know?
And the numbers suggest that Ryan's in the high-risk group, 20 to 24 years old.
Sorry, man.
Is the high. So, Ryan, why do you think your generation, you know, or the early 20-somethings, what's the problem?
Well, I wish I knew. I don't know why. I think that there is that burden for trying to have success and trying to be the best. Like, there's a real sort of aggressive tendency in men to be the best. And if you can't fulfill that, then you might feel worthless. And whether that's genetic or just imposed by society, I don't know.
Or maybe not even the best. You know, if you're trying and you can't be average. You know, a lot of people, because I think a lot of teenagers, because they don't fit in, they don't feel normal, they're not part of the group. You know, and
they feel isolated. But look at the Japanese; it's part of their culture. Like suicide.
Well, that's honor.
That's honor, though.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, I was about to get to is that maybe it is somewhat about honor, that you don't feel like you've done something.
It's Old Yeller, right?
Old Yeller,
no,
yeah.
the dog's hurting. He can't live anymore. Got to put him down. And I think the guys think the same way. I'm hurting, mentally or whatever. Put me down. That's what you do.
George Eastman, the guy who developed the Kodak camera, he shot himself at 77 because he watched his mother. He was suffering from the same bone marrow debilitating disease that his mother, was in a wheelchair and everything. And he left a note that said, "I've done what I've done. I'm finished what I have to do here, and goodbye."
Self-imposed euthanasia, more or less?
Well,
yeah. Exactly.
But I think that's somewhat of a different thing.
It's a different thing,
I think that's a different thing. If you know you're going
Bit of
to
an
die.
apples and oranges situation there,
Well,
maybe.
that's the
But
same.
that could boost up the statistics, though, right?
Yeah,
Well,
That goes into the
Yellis-
statistic
Yeah,
of
it goes in,
suicide,
yeah.
whether you did it or not.
Well,
so.
suicide's also a bit more glorified in some ways now, too, because it used to be, you didn't talk about, old Mr. Smith who hung himself 10 years ago. But now, I mean, Kurt Cobain, he kills himself, and then they still are releasing Nirvana albums that are topping the charts after the guy's been dead forever.
Well, I mean, Jimi Hendrix released more music after he died than when he was ever
Yeah.
alive.
No, killing yourself as an artist isn't going to hurt your career. It's just going to hurt your chances of having any fun with it, probably.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's going to cut down on the royalty checks.
Yeah, definitely, Chuck. It's going to hurt you in the royalty department. That's all the time we have for this segment. But when we come back, we're going to talk about all shacked up and loving it, living in sin, common law, what have you, when we come back. Welcome back to the show. You're watching Real Men. This is where men get real. You know what I mean? Not like real men, but like men, really. And on this segment, we're going to talk about living in sin, shacked up, common law, what have you. And Tim Reichert's going to set the table. Go ahead, man.
Okay, I'd like to do an impression of you, 2 impressions, not of you, for you, of 2 different households. The first household is in the 1950s. This is a mother. She's cooking breakfast for her little kids, and the father's just walked into the kitchen, obviously just having woken up. Well, I hope you got an extra 2 hours sleep while I drove the kids to hockey. I don't remember to drive the kids to hockey anyway. Well, you're the one that wanted to have the third kid. Shut up, I'm going to work. Okay, household number 2. This one takes place in the 1990s. Good morning, honey. Good morning, honey. I love you. I love you too. I love you, kids. We love you too, Dad. Goodbye. What's the difference between these 2 families? Well, the first one was in the 50s when the steps towards marriage involved dating, kissing, and then marriage. Couple B in the 90s, they went through something called living together. Yes, this wonderful invention. Jerry Falwell calls it living in sin, but then he thinks the World Trade Center was bombed because gays exist. So we can't listen to him. Living together. What the hell could possibly be more logical? If I'm going to spend the rest of my life living with someone in happiness, I might want to check it out for a couple of months first. Don't you think, Tim?
Sure. I think squeezing the toothpaste tube in the middle is just the beginning of the problems, definitely. Ryan, you're the young guy on the panel. What do you think? Would you want to shack up before you tie the knot?
Oh, for sure. I don't even know if tying the knot's in the equation at all at any point. I think so many people nowadays just live together with their partner, their life partner.
You're going to go the Kurt and Goldie route?
Yeah, that's the way to go, man. Totally. Pump out nice kids.
Other than the religious letter of the law, is there anyone that doesn't think this is a good idea now, living together before you go? Like, other than, the priests and the...
I think guys think it's a good idea. I don't know if women think as
Are
much.
you kidding me?
Well, let's find out. We've got a woman right here.
For a lot of women, it's a compromise.
Freakily enough, we have a woman on panel. Anne-Marie, what's up? Would
hey,
you
Anne-Marie.
live with a
Oh,
guy?
hi, Tim. Yeah, I love living with men. I've lived with 2 men. I've done the common law thing twice. It was really great, and I'll never do it again until I'm married.
2 men. Wow, you're
Interesting.
really liberal.
You were living with 2 guys, not at once.
Not at once, no. There was
Just
even a
wanted to
break
clarify
between.
that for the excited viewers.
So next time you live with a guy...
Mexico.
Yeah, let me tell you, just a little phrase for you guys. Why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free?
Yeah, it's the old cliche. That's for sure.
It's so true, and I can't tell you how great it is to live with a guy, and I think you can ask both of my exes. I'm really good to live with, and it's a great arrangement. People are made to couple. Like, it's a good thing to to have someone to sleep beside and to have sex, whenever you want it. You come home and there's somebody
But why
there.
marriage?
Well,
why marriage?
Why marriage? Well, for me, I was brought up Catholic, and it means something to me. And, if a guy wants to live with me and says, look, I'm spiritually married to you, and, I really care about you, as far as I'm concerned, we're married, maybe that'll do it. But if a guy says to me, I don't want to marry you because I don't want to make a promise I can't keep, then I'm like, well,
But
that's
isn't it,
not good
like,
enough.
Do we have to have it like so set that in order to be a couple that's together forever, you have to go, you have to get it signed over by the government, you have to have a priest
Ryan,
there.
that's what I'm
the
saying.
ring.
You don't maybe necessarily need that kind of church marriage, but you need to have an understanding. And I've been in a situation when the understanding was like, I love you, baby. I love living with you. I can't tell you if I'll stay with you, past next week. And I think that why buy the cow if you get the milk for free really applied in that situation.
I can vouch for marriage as a guy who was 22 and had your attitude about marriage when I was 22. And now I can vouch for marriage as more than just, and again, my attitude was the legal papers. Why do you need legal papers? Why do you need that?
And you guys lived together first, Tim?
We lived together for like 3 or 4 years. And when I got married, and it wasn't until I got married that I realized what it was really all about. And it wasn't about the papers, and it wasn't about that. It was really all about, I've told you often enough I love you. Now I'm going to tell everybody that I know that I love you, so that I can't back out on it.
It's a commitment, because I
It is a
think
commitment.
marriage has become very disposable. If your marriage isn't working out, you have a bad year, you can just give up on your marriage, no problem, because there's no stigma attached to divorce anymore. And a lot of people, you always hear the phrase, well, why do we have to get married when we can just live together? Because marriage doesn't really matter anymore. And it really doesn't, because marriage used to be about property.
Well,
It
guess
used to be
what?
about,
Guess
you
what,
take
Chuck?
my girl and I'll give you a house.
Guess what, Chuck? It's still about property. And Anne-Marie, what about this? I think women aren't very scared of marriage because when it falls apart, you're going to get all the stuff, no?
I have never thought that way. I've been probably dating
Well,
paupers,
men
for
think
God's
that way.
Okay, well, if you met a really rich, cool guy that you liked and he was totally into marrying you, but he says, just one thing, palimony agreement, you got to sign this. It just says that you really won't get anything beyond what you've earned.
That's
if you're
fine.
divorced.
That's fine with me. But we are totally talking about living in sin. And the statistics say that if you live together before you get married,
Better
50% chance you're going to get divorced. So I've lived with 2 guys, and I really think it's a great way to find out if you can live with someone. But the next time when I'm in a big, serious relationship, I'm going to keep my apartment. I'm sure I'll be there all the time anyway, or he'll be at my apartment all the time anyway, And we'll figure it out, for a long time before we get married. But, this whole thing about living together without getting married,
Well, the
you're
idea-
never going to get
but
married.
Wait a minute.
Why?
No,
Why
no.
would you?
I lived together for 3 years. I got married.
Well, yeah, but you can't.
But you were raised by women.
It's not like she's saying it won't work. But I think it's
10 seconds,
I think
Chuck.
what it is you're adding. You're already living together, so you're living as if you are married, and then you get married, which does change things.
Absolutely.
But if you get married before that, then the whole experience is new. It's not like you're going through a changing of the gears.
That's right. Okay,
That's why
all
I think they last
That's
long.
all the time we have for the site. Obviously, we've just scratched the surface, but we have more fun. When we come back from Real Men, or from this break on Real Men, we're going to talk about sex with a pal. The Jerry and Elaine thing. Can we do that? Can you get away with it? Coming up. Hey, welcome back. Where the hell? There we go. How you doing? We got cameras here on Real Men. Oh, we got cameras, baby. This segment, we're going to talk about sex with a pal. Friendly pal sex. Like on Seinfeld, they did the Jerry and Elaine. This, is it possible, Anne-Marie, without blowing up in your face? I mean, is it always going to end bad, or can you get away with it?
I think sex with a friend is probably a very good idea, because I think if you have sex with a friend and you're already friends, chances are it could blossom into a lovely relationship. Because often I've been in relationships with a guy like that, it was based, say, on like chemistry or sex, and then it breaks up, and I'm thinking, I don't even like this guy. Like, I couldn't be his friend. So I think sex with a friend actually has potential.
But do you think you can just keep the same friendship? Or does it put an end to a friendship and start a relationship?
This, that, and the other. You
By
want this and
definition,
that.
by definition, it becomes a relationship instantly. Friends who are screwing are boyfriend-girlfriend.
See, I've done the sex with a pal, but I was fortunate
Yeah, that
to
was
do
a
it.
rough night,
I was
Chuck.
fortunately.
Can't imagine that. I was drunk.
Well, hey, bring lube next time. Is all I'm saying. But I was fortunate that it was long distance, so it was kind of the when I'm in town type of relationship. So it was very different. So we didn't have to worry about the day-to-day.
Yeah, but I think the male-female relationship on like friends level, there's always sexual tension there, like that, and part of the friendship. That's like
it's an element
part
of
of the friendship, and as soon as you break that sexual tension, then it doesn't keep the friendship in check
Sex
anymore.
changes everything.
Yeah, and then the series doesn't do as well. Moonlighting, Cheers, they all went downhill once they got into the sack, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. If you have sex with a friend in your circle of friends, then a new girl comes into the circle. She's got something you don't have, which is mystery. So it's not really.
There's
gonna help
also
you
what
much.
comes up is let's say there is a couple of friends who are sleeping together casually, and they're still good friends, but they're not a couple. They just once in a while sleep together, and then one of them gets a new beau or girlfriend, and now now all that comes in?
Right. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
suddenly this is now my best friend who I was sleeping with right up until the day we started dating, and now she's just my best friend again. Are you cool with that, honey?
Yeah.
Well, because
Ouch.
guys are very bad at having sex with somebody and then stopping and continuing a relationship with them. We're not good at it.
No.
If we stop having sex with somebody, generally that means we're not going to see them too much anymore.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's the same
I
way
think
with
Chuck
me.
makes a good point from before, too, where no matter how cool the friendship is, if you jump into the sack, it's going to affect the dynamic of the friendship. Don't you think, Tim?
Yeah, it has.
yeah,
it
it
has
has
to.
to.
It was, the Seinfeld episode was perfect. It basically, it described it exactly what would happen, how it would go down. It just, everything. You think, that was so perfect because they made the rules. They went as far as to go, okay, we'll actually put rules to it so it can't get screwed.
You can't phone the next day and all that stuff. But yeah, well, they called it this, that, and the other. You need it all. And
Well, because both people in the situation are going to have expectations.
right.
And with friendship, there really isn't a lot of expectations.
I think time can be the great factor though too. Let's say you do sleep with a friend, and then time passes, and then like maybe you don't see each other for a while, but then you can pick up the friendship again because it's
could-
like starting anew.
Well,
Right.
yeah,
could
you
happen,
have to
yeah.
separate yourself
And that
from
sexual
the sex.
tension's back again. 'Cause
What,
Yeah,
what
it
about
could
what
happen
Anne-Marie
again.
said,
Yeah.
which I thought was a great point, that you have the foundation of the friendship. Now, if you move into the other area and everything goes good, are you better off
I think it's a better way to end a relationship. Yeah,
And-
I would agree with that.
to end it? You mean to start
To
it?
enter.
Enter.
Oh, to enter.
To be
yeah.
friends,
right.
be friends,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Have that foundation.
I know a
much better
couple
way.
who are doing very well now, and they were like in the same gang of friends growing up and were together as friends for a very long, like 10, 15 years, throughout which they each had different boyfriends and girlfriends, and always gave each other advice on it, blah, blah, blah. Finally, they were like, well, what about us, when they were both single, and they've been together like 6 years, 6, 7 years.
Definitely.
But
So-
you don't want to be like having sex with your friend and he's telling you about this girl he sees at work all the time who's really pretty. You're like, what am I doing this for? It's,
What about sex with a pal that's cheating sex? You've got the pal on the
right.
side sex. Can that work?
Ooh, no.
That's-
no, you're digging
that's a
a
lot of
hole with like
dynamite.
2 shovels there. you're begging on it.
That's a lot of dynamite.
Yeah,
there.
you're in a relationship and you're having sex with a friend. Oh, yeah.
I can't
trouble.
speak to that due to lack of experience.
And the
Right,
fact that
honey?
your wife.
Yeah, yeah. Reichert's trying to build back the trust after some of these episodes he's done.
What is this cheating thing you speak of?
Never heard of such a thing. Yeah, no, my wife and I are best friends, and that's why our relationship works. So had we been, we weren't friends, I asked her out on a date the proper way and everything, but the reason our relationship works is because we're best friends, so.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Okay.
We're going to
go.
come right back.
All
We're going to
right.
take a break. We'll sell some stuff. We're going to come back. We're talking about sex with a pal. Can you get away with it? Is it going to blow up in your face? Coming back. Hey, what's up? Welcome back to Real Men. I think we kind of ran out of gas on the sex with a pal. Everybody kind of went, yeah, it's a bad idea. So we're going to go back. Let's revisit Shacked Up, because I thought that we didn't quite finish that off. Tim, you were making a point when we ended that segment. Why don't you pick it up?
Yeah, my wife and I have been lived in sin before we got married, but when we decided to live in sin, when we decided to go live together, it wasn't because, well, let's live together for a while and see how that goes, and then we'll get married. Before we get married, it was we got together out of not just financial needs, but we were together, and it was like, why have 2 separate apartments? We got together, blah, blah, blah. And then it just naturally progressed into the day where I finally said, yeah, let's get married, and I asked her to marry me. So I can't grasp where you're coming from.
well, like I said, I love living with men, and I've lived with them twice before. It's a nice experience, but I'm now in my 30s, and I want to be able to have my own apartment and be with a guy, and I swear to God, I have no qualms about spending a lot of time together in the same apartment to know that we're compatible. But if he's got no intentions of, having a future with me, then I don't have to, make the big arrangements, pick things up, give 2 months notice,
sick of
get it.
moving.
I'm sick of moving. Damn it. You know, but no, it's truly back to the if you get the milk for free, why buy the cow?
You think
Why are so many-
you're projecting that onto a guy? You think the guy's going to have that attitude of, why would I marry you if I'm living with you and screwing you? Why would I take that extra step? I just don't buy that.
Well, it's just the arrangements you get into, right? So you've got this roommate who you're sleeping with, everything's good, and then out of nowhere you want to change the relationship. You say to your boyfriend, your living lover, like, I want this to be different. I want you to call me your wife. I want you to marry me. And he's like, why? You're my roommate, and you're the woman I'm sleeping with, and this is perfect, and it's fun, and
But that's a lot different than life partner. Like whether you're married or not, that's a really, like you can be a life partner and not be married, but not have that attitude. Like, hey, we're just having fun. That's not really, like I don't know. It just seems
But
like
I
it's
think a
a lot
lot
could be a
of people see
commitment with
living
it.
together as just having fun. I mean, I mentioned it during the break. My own personal experiences. My dad lived with a lady for 10 years happily, married her, and a year later it was all over. And the only reason he married her is because he felt he had to. After 10 years, he was sick of answering the question of when are you going to marry
That
this
does
girl?
not make living together wrong. That
No.
makes his decision to ask her to marry him
Well,
wrong.
I think that's why those marriages are failing, because I think a lot of them are. A lot of the reason they're getting married is because people feel they have to.
But it doesn't make living together wrong. It makes the decision of asking to marry because we live together wrong.
yeah,
you know what I'm
if
saying?
you just want to live together, just live together. That's fine. But I think it's wrong for people to go into living together expecting it's going to end up in marriage, because it's not. It's
Yeah.
not. It
But
could.
we didn't.
Well, it just seems that there's a lot of rules. Like people are trying to find, because it was so set, the rules. Like you meet a girl or a guy, you propose, you get married. Like that was the thing. But now, because nobody knows how it works, because there's so much failure, everyone's trying to come up with their
all
own
the
new
beatniks in the
rules. Like,
60s.
oh, you got to move in together, and then you work your way up, or don't move in together,
Or get a prenup.
or get a prenup,
Yeah.
or or you get married but have the palimony, or only get married if you have kids. Like everyone's got their own little
Keep
rules.
all your money in cash and keep it in a box somewhere. Please, God, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
We're out of time. We're out of time. Thanks a lot, panel. Nice job. Thanks for tuning in to Real Men, where men get real. Talk to you next time.